The Life Simplified ladies are doing a short survey to improve the podcast, and we'd love to hear your feedback. For a chance to win some UK swag, complete our survey linked in our show notes. Thanks. Welcome to Life Simplified and our last Take Back Tuesday episode for 2023. So we've made it a whole year, ladies. I think we should celebrate that. Today, our Tuesday Take Back is going to be on spending leaks, which is all the way back in January. We started the year with this one, and this was one of Joni's, and unfortunately, life happened, and so she's not able to be with us today. So we're going to take it on, and we're going to do a little bit of discussion for her, and then you're going to get to listen to the original full episode from back in January. So, spending leaks. That was a term that maybe some of our listeners had not heard prior to the original episode. So a reminder, spending leaks are just small, innocent purchases that add up over time, and sometimes we don't realize how much we're spending on them. And so in the original episode, we took a look at, like, what are they? Do we have them? What can we do to make changes? And we all identified some things that are spending leaks in our life. And hopefully we're going to find out that we were able to fix some of our spending leaks. Or if you're like me, you may have sprung a new spending leak along the year, because I'm pretty sure I have a few new ones.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yes.
I fixed the first one and then I found a new one.
Yes, I think we could all identify with that. So, ladies, if you want to remind the listeners of what your spending leak was and talk about that, and then maybe if you've sprung a leak, let us know what that is.
My spending leak was dining out, and I lack self-control when someone says, Ashley, do you want to go to lunch? I'm like, yes, I definitely don't want to eat what I brought. So I've been a lot better. I have given myself a budget on that, and I keep that in cash. I believe I discussed that in the previous episode, but that's been a year ago, so you'll find out. You let me know, did I already do this? But I've really been trying to be better about making sure I have that cash, because I was a little bit lax on that, and I'd be like, well, I can get the cash on like the 15th of the month, and then I've overspent for the first 2 weeks. So I've been better about that, but I have noticed as I'm creating my budgets each month that I'm not accounting for the random purchases for children. So different activities that just that happen occasionally. I don't even know that they're going to happen until they're here, or my child is growing and ready to be in new clothes and we don't have those clothes. So just the random purchases that we were not accounting for in our budget have added up. So I've tried to be better about actually putting those into the budget and saying, okay, this is our surprise. We don't know what this money is for, but if we have it at the end of the month, we can give ourselves a surprise.
Yeah, lots of surprises. I think with kids, there's a new surprise every day, and a lot of them cost me money. So
yes, I
can identify with that.
Yes, I can too. So this past weekend, my son went to his first birthday party.
Ooh,
and
fun.
I was like real sad about it because, the first one, it's like they're growing up. But then I was like, we didn't really plan for a birthday party, just spend money on a present. And I was like, you know what? It might be something we have to think about, kind of like you were, in that, and just trying to plan some extra money for those type of things.
Yeah, I think those are things that come up, and you could have 5 birthday parties in 1 month, and if you didn't budget that can really hit hard. So I think that's good to point out. Sometimes we're not so sure how social our kids and ourselves are going to be, and we need to make sure that we're planning ahead for that, or it could get a little out of control. And one thing, too, that I'll point out, I know some people, if they find something on sale and it's something that like a lot of children in that age range that your kids are in would like, they buy a few if they can and then just keep them held back. So it's like, okay, we've already got that thing that's a general gift that works for the future. But yeah, those spending leaks can definitely sneak up on us.
So I'll be transparent about my spending leak. Back in January, I identified that I had a lot of streaming services. Like, we had all the things. And I did go through that, and I was able to cancel one of those. So we'll call that a baby win, but it has been canceled, and I haven't added a new one. So that's good. I didn't like trade it out for another streaming service, which also we're going to call a win.
I know, I was like, there's another win right there.
So double win, yay. But major spending leak that we've identified recently, and it's going to sound funny that I call it a spending leak, but I'll explain why. So snacks. My kids be snacking, y'all, like all the time. Like, I think they do it because they're bored and they're just like, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to eat something. And I'm not talking about meals. Like, I feed my kids, they get meals, but they want to snack constantly. And so I found every time I'm going to the grocery store, of course, prices are really high right now. They've gone up. But just buying the snacky foods, my grocery bill is out of control. And it's a little concerning because it's a weekly thing. And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So I have not fixed this leak yet, but I've identified it. And one of the things that we've talked about possibly doing is going to one of the like big box stores and getting a like large quantity of whatever snacky item it is that they like, and letting them know, okay, we're doing this once a month. This is your snack for the month. So you can eat it all in the first week of the month, or you can be diligent and spread it out over the month and have the thing to last you the whole month. But at this point, we can't eat like 3 snack bars a day and 2 or 3 cheese sticks at a time and like all of the things in a large quantity. So hopefully I can report back later that I have solved this spending leak, but something's got to give.
It's hard, and I'm experiencing the same thing. We've actually talked about this before. And then I feel guilty because I'm like, you can't have that for a snack. That goes with a meal. Eat that with a meal when you, like, if it's a bag of chips. Like, let's eat that with a meal when you feel like you need something crunchy and salty to go with your meal. We all know that I mean, my personal spending leaks are potato chips because I love them. But I'm even trying to chill out on those a little bit. But I feel so guilty being like, no, don't eat that as a snack. Let's save those for when we want a potato chip with our meal. Eat these snacks that I bought. And I just feel that guilt. We've talked about that guilt before. I really relate to that right now. And we're about to go into a holiday break.
Oh, yeah.
And all the snacks.
When they're not at school, they think they're eating constantly.
It's going to be time to eat.
So I don't know. Has yours, Amanda, gotten to this point yet where they're like, let me snack? Or are we still small enough that you can be like, no, you're good?
So, yes, my son snacks all the time. Even after he eats dinner, he's sometimes like, snack. So I've tried to buy the larger boxes of things, but it is still really hard.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. Of course, kids grow super fast. So I'm just trying to manage that, especially like you all mentioned, the holiday season's coming up. And for us, we travel. So I did go to the store the other day and spent too much money on snacks, but we're taking them with us in a cooler, and it's so much cheaper than stopping at convenience stores.
Right. Absolutely.
To grab those snacks and pay a lot more for them.
Yeah, and I think we do. It is hard when it's food, and we feel guilty because clearly food is a necessity for life. Like, we're not going to not give our children food. But finding that fine line between, are you actually hungry? Is what you're eating good for you and fueling you properly? And how much is it costing? Because a lot of times we're paying for the convenience of snacky foods. That they're single packages and they're already prepped for you. And that just adds cost. So when I think we can purchase things in bulk or a larger quantity, or if it's fruits or vegetables, we can purchase it and prep them ourselves to save some cost. That helps. But yeah, I think it's a different kind of spending leak than I would have ever mentioned back in January in the original episode, but it's definitely something that I think is becoming an issue for probably a lot of families. And you're right, we're in the holiday season, kids aren't at school, and they're eating and eating and eating, and it's just, how do we make this work financially and also from a health and nutrition aspect?
Well, and we talked about intuitive eating several episodes back, and I've really been diving into that on a whole personal level and trying to find more information about that. So it's finding that balance between, are you really hungry or you want to eat it because it's there and it's delicious. I'm not saying that I don't buy good snack food. I buy good snack food. They're delicious. I want to eat them too, but I'm not hungry. So let's find that balance between eating when we're hungry and eating because it's delicious.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as we go into the winter months, we're not as active because a lot of time, if your family's kind of like mine, if the sun was out, we were outside. So even till it was like 7 or 8 o'clock, and we would go inside, go to bed. Well, now it's dark at 4:30, and I'm like, well, what are we gonna do? And then it seems like snacks happen a lot more before dinner or after dinner, and like you all said, it's either because you're bored or you're just like, that sounds good right now, just a comfort, because we don't really have a whole lot going on.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And who knows, maybe we've identified something to discuss more in depth in the new year. We'll see, because I don't think our grocery bills are going to get less anytime soon, and I don't think our kids are going to get full anytime soon, so we'll have to figure this out together. But I thank y'all for discussing your spending leaks. I hate Joni couldn't join with us. I would love to hear the progress she's made or the new leaks she's sprung in this past year. But those of you listening, I hope you'll stick with us and listen to this full episode and take a look at where you've fixed a leak and maybe where you found a new one.
Sometimes life is messy. Have you ever wished you could refocus your mind, home, relationships, and work life? Join us as we use research-based information to make practical changes and simplify life. This is Life Simplified.
Welcome to our second full episode of Life Simplified. We hope that you have had the opportunity to listen to our first episode where we talked about self-care and how important it is to take time for yourself. Each month, we will be discussing ways that we can simplify life through research-based tips on mental health, resource management, physical health, and relationships. This month, we are jumping in with a New Year reset. Today, our focus is on starting the year off with resource management reset by focusing on spending leaks. How many of you like something that you say you can't live without? I think we all do. So what is your spending leak? First, we need to decide what is a spending leak. Spending leaks are small, simplified, innocent purchases that add up over time. You may not think that you have a spending leak, but I'm sure if you really sit down and you think about it, you do. We all do. So my ladies are back with us this week, and we're going to talk about some spending leaks amongst ourselves and our families. So one of my questions that I'm going to ask today is, do you think you have a spending leak?
Yep.
Yes, I know I do.
Yeah.
I know I do too. So I think if we really truly, like I said, sit down and think about it, we probably have multiple spending leaks to be just thinking about. You know, we're talking about new reset, and sitting down and being honest with ourselves is really hard to do because you don't want to face the facts that you're doing something and you could be saving money, So we'll go around and I want you to tell me what your spending leak is.
Okay, so our family's spending leak that I have been trying to look at and figure out how we sort through this, but it's streaming platforms. Like we stream all of our television, all of our entertainment, and my goodness, we have so many different streaming platforms, and I know we're not watching all this because we're busy. We're not even home half the time. My kids are in sports and activities and we're working. And so I'm not getting my money's worth, and they're charging my account every month. And some of them to be honest, I'll forget we even have it because we'll add it for some certain show that we just have to watch, and then the season's over and it's been 6 months and I've not even opened that app on my smart TV in 6 months' time. And so I know 100% that streaming platforms are spending leaks for my family. And so trying to sort that down and only pick the things that I know that we're using on a regular basis and that we're getting our money out of. But it's so easy once you get on there and it's something that just comes out every month without you thinking about it. I'm sure if I added it up, I'd be embarrassed, to be honest.
Well, and then it sneaks up on you because oh, okay, I'm done with this one. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to cancel this before the due date. And then, well, it already passed. So I guess I'll just wait till the next month. And then this, I guess, could be a whole thing in itself. But how do you decide which one?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because if your kids are like mine, they're like, oh, well, one day I'm going to watch this. And then the other day I'm going to switch to this platform. And I'm like, well, why don't we just pick one that we love?
But then you don't have, if you pick one that you love, then it doesn't have all the shows that you want on it. So they've split it up, I think, as
on purpose.
On purpose, yeah. I mean,
they're very smart.
They are very smart. Tiffany, I'm like you. I do the same.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah,
that is a really
good
good one. We're probably all guilty of.
Yeah.
So when you figure it out, you tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I'll try. I don't know. The kids want one thing. I want one thing. The husband wants a different thing. And, by about the time I'm ready to be like, we don't need this one, that next season comes out and it, kind of gets you back, sucks you back in there.
brings you
So,
back in.
yeah, it's hard. I don't know. I'll see if I can find the solution. Joni's going to help me.
Yes, I'm gonna have to help myself too.
I think we've learned this, that we're all helping ourselves along the way. Well, I would say that mine is probably dining out during the week at lunchtime. I've said this before in classes when we're teaching about these topics. When someone says, "Hey, Ashley, you want to go to lunch?" I don't usually say no. So that my arm doesn't have to get twisted that much. As long as I have the time to say yes, I do. So I would say that is probably my spending leak.
So for me, it's coffee. Mm-hmm. I like to go through the drive-through and get a roasted coffee. Mm-hmm. Even if I drink coffee on the way to work, I don't know. It's just, and then some days more than others. It depends on the day, how I slept or what I have going on. So I'm trying to just do like one a week. So it's my treat. That's what I'm telling myself. So that's maybe my reset, for that. And when you were thinking about identifying and thinking about what it is, I was like, yeah, when I go vacuum my car out and I have all these receipts for these coffees and I'm like, you know what? It adds up, and it does. And kind of like you were talking about the restaurant. So that's mine. Mine's coffee.
Yeah, I get that, Amanda. I used to have that same one. And so now, my husband and I are both drinking coffee. He used to not. Now it's a newfound thing for him. So now that there's two of us, we actually brew a pot in the morning because, by yourself, I don't need a whole pot of coffee. I mean, I might, but not if I'm going to leave and go to work. It needs to come with me. So before, though, what I would do, because I wanted to do that too. And so kind of like you talked about, just like once a week. So my treat to myself would be Friday mornings. I would go to whatever coffee shop was my favorite, and that would be like my reward for getting through the week and not buying it throughout the week. So I don't know, maybe that's something that could help you out. And I look forward to Friday mornings. Like Friday morning, coffee morning was exciting.
Yeah, I'll have to try that.
So mine would probably be soft drinks. I love diet soft drinks. And for years, I would go by Sonic every morning and get a Route 44 drink. And that was my thing. I loved fountain drinks. And then I changed over to canned drinks. So most of the time, I usually have 2 or 3 of them with me, or my cup with me in that. My son told me the other morning I was getting some to go. I was leaving for work and I wasn't going to be in my office. And I grabbed, I think about 3 of them. And he said, "Mom, what's wrong with you? Why are you taking all of these?" Because, and if I'm out, I got to go get, so that would probably be one of my things is spending them on soft drinks that I don't need. So I can cut them out and, number one, save money and maybe be a little healthier of not putting them added artificial sweeteners and everything else in me. So that's kind of mine. So one of the other things that we tend to think about when we're talking about spending leaks, is it impulse buys or is it self-discipline? Is it an impulse buy? I used to say that my drinks was my comfort. That was my comfort. And when I was having a bad day, I would go get me a drink because that made me feel better. And so is our, spending leaks impulses, or is it lack of self-discipline? So mine could probably fall in lack of self-discipline. So just kind of think about where your spending leaks are and how do you feel when you're purchasing. Tiffany, you said a while ago that you rewarded yourself with coffee on Fridays. So is that impulse buy? I don't think so. Or is it lack of self-discipline? We just kind of think about, because I know I have other spending leaks too. So
but you only said to give you one.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Gave you one.
I did. And I only gave you guys one. Did you not hear that? But, just thinking we have to be honest with ourselves, sure. And when we are talking about finances, and this whole podcast is it's reset, restart, so we need to be honest with ourselves to be able to do that. And so, we just got to think about, is it emotional or is it physical or, is it discipline? So just some things that we need to think about when it comes to that.
Thinking about what you just shared, is it an impulse buy? Is it lack of discipline? Is it, I think part of what I would ask myself, like if we're talking about Amanda getting one coffee out once a week or what I used to do on Fridays, I think it's like, how does it affect you and your family? So like, is this spending leak causing me to not be able to pay other bills or to accomplish other financial goals that are more of a priority? And if that's the case, then absolutely, like, it's a problem. And I need to address it. If it's not causing an issue, something as innocent as that, one coffee a week could be a self-care item. If it's something that's okay for your family. But I think that's going to be different for everybody. For me, a coffee on Friday was a self-care thing, kind of like, that reward. But if I wasn't, able to pay my electric bill because I'm getting this coffee every Friday, then absolutely that's an issue I have to take a look at. And so I think we all have to really examine. And like, as I was hearing all of us share our spending leaks, what was coming to mind for me is that like the needs versus wants, and everything that we all shared were wants. I mean, if we break it down, none of us, I don't have to have different streaming platforms in my life. We don't have to eat out. We don't have to have coffee. We don't have to have our sodas. They bring us comfort in a lot of ways. I think that we desire them, but they're a want. They're a desire. They're not a need. And so finding out, like, is this need worth the price tag associated with it? Or is there something else? Or I'm sorry, is this want? I got that backwards. Is this want worth the price tag associated with it? Or is there something we need, my family needs? Have I met my financial goals for savings, for giving back to other people, where I need to cut back? And so I think we have to get really honest with ourselves. And I know that's why we get uncomfortable with like family resource management and talking about money, because it's uncomfortable to discuss with other people, and that's fine. But I think you have to be able to be honest with yourself and then with the other adults in your home who are making those financial decisions with you, just getting gut level honest.
And speaking along that same line, if you know that it's not causing harm to your financial situation, but look at it and see is this how you want to be spending your money? Are you happy with your money going to that? And if you are, and it's not interfering with any of your needs, we're not here to tell you any different. And that's one thing that I try to think about, like, am I happy that that's where my money is going? And if so, then there we go. And if not, what tiny thing, what tiny change can I make
Yeah, absolutely. I think another thing that kind of came to mind as we were talking is, with eating out or our sodas, our coffees, those like creature comfort items that are spending leaks. We know they add up. Those are the type of things that are great. Like when we're thinking about giving and receiving gifts, giving those type of gifts to people we care about. Like if you know that they love coffee, getting them a gift card so that they can go to their local coffee shop that they enjoy, getting them a pack of their favorite soda so they can have it and not have to pay for it, giving them a gift card for their favorite restaurant or taking them out to lunch and then having that social aspect as well. And so I think we can twist these spending leaks on their head and like know how to connect with somebody else. Or if someone asks us, like, how can I connect with you? Or like, oh, this is something that I really enjoy, but I'm trying not to spend so much on it. So this is something I would love.
Yeah, I mean, both of you have made good points as far as about it. When we are trying to change our finance behaviors and we need to look at the bigger picture of everything that we're spending, and like you said a while ago, Tiffany, to make sure that, you are still able to pay for your bills and all the things that your family needs or yourself needs before we decide, okay, I'm going to go spend $10 on a 24 pack of drinks, because that $10 could go towards a bill, and instead of me thinking that I have to have my soft drinks. So we need to make sure that we are meeting all of our financial needs for everything. And that just kind of goes into some of my tips as far as about with spending leaks. Plan, budgeting, we're in a new year, and a lot of times we'll think, okay, well, let's get ourselves on a budget. So this is a perfect way for you to get on a budget, planning for that budget. Financing is scary, as a result, we should prioritize our needs, just like you said a few minutes ago, and sometimes we don't want to do that, but we need to be able to do that, to make sure that we are hitting them financial managements. Another thing is establishing new habits. We talked about self-care. And in our next episode, we're going to be talking about physical fitness, of being able to have new habits of exercise, nutrition, and self-care. This is another way that you can establish new habits. When we go shopping, we may think that we need certain things, and then we impulse buy, if we are having a bad day. Some people want to go shopping, that makes them feel better. Just like I said a while ago with my soft drinks, it made me feel that was my comfort. And it's not anymore because I realized what it was and I cut that out. But establishing the new habits of not impulse buying, spending habits, may be different for each one of us as too. We all talked about 4 different areas in our lives of what spending leaks was. So, as long as we are aware of what that is and they're not triggers to us in that, we can also far as be able to establish the new habits with it. Taking time to make some spending rules for you and your family to follow. Not only you, but you've got to have your family on board with it as well. Because I'm sure if you have a big family, it may just be you, but they probably have a spending habit as well. I know my husband does. So there's things that we need to talk about with our family and not just yourself, because you got to have everybody on board when you're trying to establish them new habits. Don't spend more than you can afford. Don't live above your means. If you don't have the money for us to be able to go and get that coffee, don't go and do it, just because that's something that you want.
I really like the point that you made about talking it over with your family. I think this is really important between partners as well, but also with your kids. And you may not be giving them exact numbers or anything like that, but one of the things that we do talk about with our girls are whether or not something's in the budget. And we've been talking a lot with the 9-year-old about wants and needs, because sometimes everything is a need. And so we talk about how that's not really a need, that's a want. And you may want that really badly, but you don't need that to survive. And one thing she told me the other day whenever I was leaving to go to the grocery for something, she said, now be sure and stay in the budget. And I said, oh, no, I'm going to blow the budget. I'm going to break into yours. And she was not happy about that. She did not appreciate that joke that I was getting in her budget. But little things like that make me think that she is understanding that there is a limited resource. Finances, money is a limited resource, and we have to decide how that's going to be used. Mm-hmm. So I really like that point about involving the family.
Yeah, and I think being realistic with your kids about finances, because I think a lot of times children, I have 3 kids, and I think each of them at some point has said to me, oh, well, why can't you just write a check? Why can't you just put it on your credit card? Like, they have this idea that there's this magic money and that we just swipe this piece of plastic and we're good to go. And they have no concept of what that means, working for money, paying off bills that no, that's not just free for us. We have to pay that back. I think there's a lot of that they don't grasp. And so the earlier in life that we can kind of explain that you don't get something for nothing. There's always work involved. There's always planning. And sometimes you may appear that you think you can have something, but that doesn't mean you can.
Oh, wait, you mean money does not grow on trees?
Unfortunately not.
Because my children as well thought that money grew on trees too when they was younger. So that's a very good point that you was pointing out there, Tiffany.
So when you were talking about when you shopping, like buying when you're depressed or things like that, I was thinking about like when you go grocery shopping, are you hungry when you go grocery shopping?
Yes.
Like, that could
Yeah.
be like, or the impulse buys, like when you're checking out, and that could be at a department store as well. But because if you're hungry, you're going to be like, oh, we need this and we need this. You're going to buy more, of course. And so that's what I was thinking. Like, is there ways that I can do that better? So yeah.
And we may not realize you have a spending leak too. So you can kind of sit down and think after you listen to us today and just think, do I have a spending leak? Because, these are little things that people don't realize, that is possibly a spending leak. So just kind of thinking about it. So.
Sure. And once you find your spending leak, if you're not happy about it, thinking of the ways to change it. And as we've been sitting here talking, mine was not saying no. So I need to get a little better at that specifically. But I was thinking that if I pick a number that I'm comfortable spending on whatever, we'll call it fun money, that can be my dining out money, and I take that in cash and I've got it. And once it's gone, then I have no choice but to say no. And then I'm comfortable with the money situation. And then I also get to have that social aspect of getting to go out to eat lunch with my peers.
Yeah, and I think all of the things that we mentioned that are our personal spending leaks, they're not necessarily wholly bad things. They're not completely negative. And so I think when you find your spending leak, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing situation. So you don't have to say, oh, my spending leak is coffee. I can never go out and have coffee again. I must just brew it at home or not have it and be sad. And I don't think that that's what we're getting at here. I think it's like, okay, what do I feel comfortable spending on coffee? And if spending it 5 days a week at the coffee shop does not make me feel comfortable, then what's that number? Kind of like Ashley said, what does that look like that makes me okay with it? I'm probably not going to cancel all of our streaming apps or whatever we have. We will keep something, but I probably don't need 6 of them. I'm quite certain that that's true. So I think, just remembering, we're not telling you, okay, that's your spending leak, go cut it out of your life. That's not realistic. You'll get frustrated. You'll give up. I think the important thing to remember is, find it, figure out what you're comfortable with, and then make that small change.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I've been kind of thinking about too, like reevaluating it 2 or 3 months later too. If you maybe fell back into that habit or you subscribe to another, streaming service and you're like, darn,
right?
I need to go back and refresh, and that happens, and that's okay. But just recognizing that you were talking about, it's the new year, we're going to do these things. And I think that kind of actually plays into all of the things we have been talking about resetting in each of the different podcasts this month, but just reevaluating where we're at throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think this is a one and done situation. Like, we're resetting because we're at the beginning of a new year and it feels good and it's a fresh start. It's a new chapter in our story. And I love that. Like, I love a new year, not for resolutions because I think those stress us out, but I like the idea of a new chapter. But partway through this chapter, it's okay to reevaluate again because we may find a new spending leak, or we might find that we've dropped off on our self-care somewhere, or our relationships need to be reevaluated again. Like, all of these areas are a constant where we need to keep evaluating. I think it's just, we're starting fresh. Let's see how this goes. But you're right. Like, check in with yourself 3 months down the road. What's working well? What's not? How can we continue to grow? Because I think we're looking for growth, not perfection.
Whatever your financial goals are for the next year, try incorporating mindfulness into your daily spending habit. Consider ways to prevent your money from going to waste while you make your purchases in advance. Next week, we will be discussing how we can reset our physical health. Tune in.
Thanks for listening to Life Simplified. We are family and consumer sciences agents with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. Contact us at lifesimplifiedpodcast@gmail.com.